So AOC, she wanted to stop the military advertising on Twitch. Look, man, I agree with the sentiment, but I think that this is a farce. Okay, I'm gonna just let her speak before I get into it. Go ahead, just look at what she had to say. All right, take a look.
Right now, currently, children on platforms such as Twitch are bombarded with banner ads that link to recruitment sign-up forms that can be submitted by children as young as 12 years old. These are not educational outreach programs, but recruitment forms for the military. A Twitter account for the U.S. Army esports team linked to a page with, quote, register to win at the top, no details on what one could even win, and a sign-up form that, according to a tiny disclosure at the bottom of the page, consents to contact by an Army recruiter, again allowing people as young as 12 years old to submit this form. Viewers in the Army's Twitch channel are repeatedly presented with an automated prompt that says they could win an Xbox Elite Series 2 controller that costs upwards of $200 and a link where they can enter the, quote, giveaway. It, too, directs them to a recruitment form with no additional mention of a contest odds, total number of winners, or when a drawing will occur. Again, it's extraordinarily important that we approach and study emerging technologies, including live streaming, which is a platform that is exploding in youth, particularly among young people. And when it comes to issues of technology, I believe that we should act with reservation and caution first, rather than entering with both feet in and then trying to undo damage that could potentially be done. That's why I believe that we should, again, restrain and restrict ourselves from explicit recruitment tactics, not others, but recruitment specifically on platforms that children are using to play games like Animal Crossing, from Animal Crossing to Call of Duty. Additionally, there was also the extraordinary concern from the Marine Corps of conflating military service with shoot-'em-up style first-person shooters. We cannot conflate war and military service with this kind of gamified format. And with that, I yield.
You know, that's really interesting phrasing she uses there, right? She says we cannot conflate military service with war. That's a very odd thing for a United States politician to say, because as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, you don't have anything called military service. You have a military industrial complex, okay? You don't have any military service. You use your military to colonize and occupy other countries illegally, destabilize them, topple their governments, plunder their resources. What service is that? Brutalizing Iraqis? That's service? Committing genocide? That's service? What kind of service is that? The only people you're serving are Raytheon and Lockheed Martin. Never mind, though. You know, let's focusing on what she's doing over here. I mean, this is a farce. Look, let me explain something very simply. When you come to my country and you occupy my oil and you deprive my family of food and income, I really don't care if the people doing it, the grunts that are occupying my food, my oil, my land, were recruited on Twitch or at a Dunkin' Donuts or in high school. I really don't give a fuck, because at the end of the day, they are still oppressors, they are colonizers, and they are in my land illegally. So fuck you and fuck your farce. If you really cared, okay, about kids, why don't you care about the kids in Syria? Why don't you care about the kids in Syria that are starving now because of your sanctions, that are deprived of food because of your military? Why don't you care about that, huh? We don't matter? Syrian kids don't matter? What about the kids in Iraq? What about the kids in Venezuela? Why don't you do something? Why don't you use your power in government to do some shit about that? You just spent 2 minutes talking about Twitch, right? Because you're so concerned with kids. Why don't you talk about that? Why don't you address the sanctions, the war, the plundering? What about that? That's of no concern to you? Once again, I don't care where you recruit your oppressors, okay? When someone is coming over in a Black Hawk, jumping out and occupying my land, I don't care where you got them from. The result is the same for me, okay? That stuff kills. It kills. What about Hollywood, right? Why do you think the Pentagon, the Department of Defense, subsidizes pro-war movies like Top Gun, huh? Or Black Hawk Down? Why do you think they subsidize these movies? Do you think they're stupid? They have nothing better to do than just lease Jeeps for free and helicopters for free to Hollywood producers. No, they do that because this is a recruitment endeavor. Yes? These movies recruit people. They have enormous influence. Hollywood has enormous influence over the minds of people. And so it's propaganda, right? There's a reason why The Deer Hunter and Platoon by Oliver Stone were not afforded these same privileges. There's a reason. Maybe it's because they were anti-war movies. Just a hunch. So why doesn't AOC make any mention of that recruiting power? You know, she's so concerned about the subtle means through which people are recruited into the military. Why doesn't she make any mention of that? Why doesn't she propose an amendment to stop the DoD from subsidizing pro-war movies? That's not a necessary expense, is it? Do you really need to subsidize that? You can see the hypocrisy is very blatant here because, look, if AOC is conscious of the fact that recruitment equals bad, that means she knows what the military does. She knows that when you're recruited into the military, you ain't really doing much service. You're going off to kill people and plunder their land. She knows this. She's not stupid. If I know this, she knows this. She's a congresswoman. And so she ain't going to touch the military though, is she? But just notice the hypocrisy. Like, if you don't want kids idolizing the military and joining the military, that means you know there's something bad with that. You know that that leads to some really bad stuff. So why just focus on Twitch? What is this ridiculous? Why wouldn't you focus on banning all kinds of advertisements for recruitment? Why don't you ban recruitment in high schools? That's of no concern to you. Those are also kids. That doesn't matter to you. And that's way more effective. That really works. That was working before Twitch. Okay. You had people being recruited to high schools decades before you even had the internet. Why aren't you concerned with that? Because you're full of shit. This is once again one of these paper kind of contrasts, right? These platitudes, these meaningless suggestions that Democrats try to put forward to demark themselves from Republicans. But at the end of the day, it makes no difference, and they damn well know it. This whole amendment is ridiculous. You know, why isn't she putting forward an amendment to stop these brutal sanctions against Syrians, or the brutal sanctions against Iranians and Venezuelans, denying them infrastructure, denying them medicine, denying them food? Why doesn't she care about those? What about the kids in these countries? They don't matter? Unbelievable. I'm telling you, this is a joke. This is a farce. Like, that's the least of your concerns. You have a fucking million different things that you could put under a microscope and try to dismantle. For example, the subsidization of movies. That's just one thing, right? She could try to stop, for example, the Department of Defense giving billions to MIT, right? Which is supposed to be an academic institution, but instead is being used for weapons research and development. What about that? What about the 25 different biological warfare stations that the US has spread across the globe in Eastern Europe, for example, in Georgia? What about those? You need bioweapons research facilities? No one needs that shit. Why are you amassing weapons of mass destruction? If I was in her shoes, what do you think I'd be doing? I'd be talking about Twitch, or I'd be talking about those things? Fuck out of here, man. Get out of here. I'm not tolerating this crap. At the end of the day, they won't really stand up to the military-industrial complex because they don't want to. They want to take care of their careers. If you stand up to the military-industrial complex, they'll get rid of you. You ain't getting reelected. Oh, no. But AOC wants a career in the party. And we know this not just from this tiny little Twitch amendment. We know this from her refusal to call out Democratic leadership, her refusal to support progressive candidates who are running in other congressional districts, her refusal to stick to her principles. You know, all of a sudden now she's going to vote for Joe Biden, who doesn't support any of the stuff she ran on. I mean, this is just a drop in the ocean. But it's just such a pathetic platitude. I mean, how insulting. Like, do you really think I give a shit? Do you really think people in Iraq care where you got your grunts from? Do you think we really care if you recruited them at Twitch or Dunkin' Donuts? We really don't care. You killing us. You fucking killing us, bitch. You are literally murdering us. Fuck you and fuck your military. Seriously. And the fact that you expect me to be polite to these fucking assholes. I mean, there's something wrong with you. Like, you literally want me to be polite to someone who won't even stop people from murdering me? Like, have you lost your fucking mind? What is wrong with you? Where is your fucking conscience? Where's your empathy? What is wrong with you? We're not talking about some lame shit here. We're talking about the US military. Do you understand what the US military does to other countries? Do you have any grasp? Like, have you gone fucking cuckoo? This is the most lethal white supremacist imperialist threat on the face of the planet. We're not fucking around here. Wake up. How dare you? How pig shit ignorant can you get? You want me to be polite and civil with these mass murderers? I don't give a shit if she's flying a flag and preaching about overthrowing Venezuela, or is she just standing by quietly and doing nothing? It's the same thing. She's still complicit. She's still complicit. Every single one of them are complicit. That's what you don't understand, because you ain't on the receiving end. You ain't on the receiving end of the shit. It's so easy for you not to get it. You don't want to get it. It's so convenient for you to bury your head in the sand and be like, oh, you know, AOC is okay, actually. And you're being uncivil. Fuck you, man. I don't owe you shit. You owe me, bitch. Pay me reparations. What about that fucking oil you plundering, that 30 million a day? Yeah. It's a lot of money. Not to mention the fucking lives that have been lost. That's not replaceable.